From the police state to tectonic plates, touch sense and tattoo take the temperature of tyranny on Freedom Frequency 1871, coming to you live now.
This is America. We have founding fathers that wrote a constitution that we haven't lived by in 142 years.
Were they serious when they said they planned on owning the weather by 2025?
And if you're not pissed off, there's something wrong with you right now.
Have you guys seen what's going on outside your door lately? Need I remind you?
This is America. Are y'all going to allow it to be Russia?
Hello everyone. Welcome into Freedom Frequency 1871. This is your host, Dutch Sense, and it's Friday, January 31st, 2014. We are in the throes of winter, and I'm broadcasting to you from a deep bunker here in St. Louis, Missouri. Just kidding on that, but I've got Tat here, my co-host, and we've got our special co-host, Chrissy Sumer, on the line as well. You guys want to say hi?
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Cool. It's good to have you back, Chrissy. You know, last week's discussion on Serco and the police state and radio frequency, people were just giving it, tremendous thumbs up, and they really appreciated the discussion and your post on Serco. That was really cool for you to get that out there.
Thank you.
Awesome. And you guys, if you want to check it out, Chrissy's got a website now. It's called ChrissySumer.com, and that's exactly how it sounds. ChrissySumer.com. And she's making posts there daily now. I encourage you guys to check that out. And Tat's site, tattoot1009.com, where you'll find everything on 1871 to weather modification. And that takes us directly into what tonight's broadcast is all about. Now, we're going to be taking callers at the start of the second hour. So for the first hour here, we're going to be discussing fully weather modification, cloud seedings, a.k.a. chemtrails, and we're also going to be discussing radio frequency manipulation of the weather, and we're going to be discussing YouTube disinformation. And the reason we're discussing all this tonight is because of some news that appeared on YouTube over the past day and a half. And if you're not aware, if you've been living a regular life and not paying attention to the YouTube conspiracy sector, you may not know what's going on. So I'll just bring you up to speed really quick. A series of videos appeared on the tubes approximately 48 hours ago now almost, of people taking snow in the South in that recent snowstorm that fell and taking a Bic lighter or a flame source to the snow and making the claim that the snow itself is fake. Some people saying it's made up of plastic nanoparticles. Other people saying that it's not real at all. And a few people saying that it most likely is some kind of cloud seeding attempt. Now, this is a repeat problem on YouTube. When we see disinformation stories appear out of nowhere, usually from the same channels, no less. So let me give you the example for this story yesterday. We have two channels, somebody named 2010 Countdown and another one named Dabu something or other. They put out original stories going outside, grabbing snow from their yard, coming back inside, holding a Bic lighter to the snow, and making the claim that because the precipitation, the snow that was collected, vaporizes and doesn't turn into liquid when they're holding the flame to it, that it's fake. Also, when they held their Bic lighters to the snow, carbon buildup occurred on the snow due to the dirty butane of the lighter. But never mind that, never mind logic. The people who put out these videos made the claim that the snow was plastic. And they claimed they were getting a foul odor off the snow when they were burning it. Okay, so we've got a series of claims that have been put out by channels that don't normally cover the topic of weather modification, and I would dare say they're not very science-minded overall. just in the other information that they put out. And this story has spread everywhere. We're getting thousands of questions. We're getting the whole truth community, if there is such a thing, up in arms about weather modification disinformation. And this is a problem that I've ran into for almost 3 years now on the topic of covering weather modification overall, is that you'll see a bunch of BS that gets thrown out there by people who have no place even in the discussion, to be quite frank. And it smears the good information that's been gathered and put out over the past several years. And this current southern snow that occurred is the best example of YouTube information gone wrong that I could ever think of. Now, Chrissy and Tat, before I get into the full discussion on cloud seeding versus other forms of weather modification, would you guys care to tell us just kind of what you've ran into in the past 24 hours trying to tell people that it's not plastic raining down from the sky?
Well, on my end, people are mad. They are mad. They get mad at me for telling them that, and they think that I am now spreading disinfo. So it's a sobering reality to see people react that way. It's like you said, dividing us even more, maybe.
Mm-hmm. And Tat, have you ran into any resistance trying to show people that it's not plastic snow, or at least point out to them that they need to prove that it is before putting it out as fact? Okay, well, we're not getting Tat through here on the call. I don't know if you guys are hearing him on your end.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
My personal opinion is that anybody that don't know that propane is the dirtiest fuel out there.
Butane.
You're right. Butane is one of the dirtiest fuels in the world. When it doesn't burn perfectly blue with perfect oxygen, it will burn black. And it's intended to do that intentionally. But I don't understand why they don't understand that it is not going to get hot enough to melt ice that quick. If you don't believe me, go take an ice cube out of your refrigerator, and you can get the same results with an ice cube. Although it may melt because it's a solid object, it's not hollow. It's not ice crystals. If you take the ice and put it in a blender and crunch it up like snow, you'll get the same results.
Correct.
I just don't understand why people don't understand the logic.
This experiment can be done over and over again around the world in each subsequent snowfall that we get. So, for instance, we're due some snow here in St. Louis. I'm going to go out and do the same experiment, and I'll put that video out. You guys should stay tuned for that. It should be pretty interesting to see what the results are when we do the actual test, which is going to be multiple melting sources. So on the stove, in a pan, room temperature, maybe even a microgram measurement weight-wise of the water would be in order before anybody were to make the claim that it was weather modification. Now, weather modification, here's something that I literally have covered for almost 3 years now. We sent a reporter across the country to go to weather modification conferences to the companies that are actually doing the different spraying. There is spraying being done, confirmed. We've got the results. We've got the conference recorded. It's on my YouTube page, and it's got a few thousand views because nobody cared until yesterday about weather modification, apparently. And the only thing that spreads is disinformation. All the disinfo goes right to the top, just like crap floating across a pool. Now, I'm getting sick of the disinformation on YouTube, and I told everybody my previous conversation before we got on the air that I'm going to try and keep it cool tonight and not fly off the handle and get too angry at the community for being stupid. Okay, and I'm sorry for calling the people that are believing this and pushing this information stupid, but it really is a sad day when Dutch Sense is sitting here telling people they're stupid on weather modification. I'm tired of dealing with the disinformation coming out of these same channels over and over again that gets spread as truth on YouTube by the community, quote unquote, who really doesn't know anything except for how to look for new fear porn of the week. Now, the channels that put this out originally, one channel a couple of years ago, I think in 2010, 2011, said the moon was out of whack and that we were going to get hit by the moon and it was going to hit the Earth. The other guy, here he is with Comet Ison with his finger in front of the goddamn sun, saying he can see Ison and it's coming at planet Earth. That's Dabu 7. And that's the video you guys are all basing your shit on? Are you serious? Okay? Now,
I got something to say.
You try to correct, real quick, you try to correct these people and their followers and the whole community who's sharing this information as though it's fact. And guess what happens? All these other nobodies show up out of nowhere claiming that it's plastic nanoparticles, and they put all these new little add-ons into the original bullshit story that wasn't originally there in the Dabu 7 and 2010 The Countdown videos. Next thing you know, we've got 20 videos popping up on YouTube of different people going outside with blowtorches. Some guy's got a blowtorch, a acetylene blowtorch like you would use to do welding with, and he's got a snowball, and he's holding the torch up to the snowball, and he's like saying, See, the snowball's disappearing. It's not turning to liquid. It's 1,000 degrees or more. It's going to vaporize into nothing.
Sorry, I couldn't help but laugh.
It's ridiculous. And I'm really, so I almost feel like we're wasting a broadcast here trying to debunk this. But let's get into cloud seeding. Chemtrails. Let's go back 10 years, first of all. Let's go back to like 9/11 and talk about chemtrails. Okay, there's a few documentaries that appeared back in the late 90s, early 2000s. One by a guy who I like his work, Freeman, made a video a very long time ago. And he talked about desiccated blood cells in being sprayed by the U.S. military to form into clouds to rain down on, makes people sick. Then there's other talk of course, geoengineering, which is the deliberate man-made attempt to control the environment or manipulate it to a certain end or means. Whatever the outcome they're trying to get is geoengineering is a general term to describe weather modification. And also geoengineering could be used to describe directing a river or other manipulation of the natural environment. Cloud seeding is the technical term for what everyone is calling chemtrails. Now, there's different types of cloud seeding. There's intentional cloud seeding, where they fly around in a plane and spray certain substances or dump certain substances out of an airplane, which then spreads out and forms into what's known as a man-made cloud. Okay, that is deliberate weather modification. They use silver iodide, AGI. You can look up the symbol. I think our producer actually has the material safety data sheet, which I pulled up so you guys could see the facts on silver iodide, how you're not supposed to get it into the water, how it's toxic and it will cause rashes and you're not supposed to ingest it. Well, silver iodide is being sprayed by companies around the world daily to perform weather modification. Let me give you an example. 2012, 2013, Idaho Power in Idaho, snowpack augmentation, using silver iodide being sprayed from airplanes and from ground-based plume generators. The whole intent of doing that is to generate a lot of snow in the mountains, which then goes down into the rivers, which then Idaho Power harnesses for hydroelectric power. And they pay for that every year. Got a whole PBS documentary on it. They give their flight paths. They give their flight plans. They give the substances used, the amounts that they spray. But you've got to be an insider. You've got to know where to look for this information. You have to know the correct terminology. You go around talking about chemtrails. Chemtrails is a slang term invented by conspiracy researchers back before they did the appropriate research. I don't argue with anybody using the term chemtrails. It's a good descriptor. It really is. It's a chemical cloud, man-made cloud that lingers and forms out into a broad-based, either reflector, like a mirror across the entire sky, or can actually form into cloud banks. Now, this takes us into the FAA, Federal Aviation Administration. NASA have done tests and are fully aware that there's a phenomenon called persistent contrails. Persistent contrails form off the back of something like an American Airlines jet that's flying over. Now, there's some debate as to what is causing that. Now, I don't debate this at all. We already know what's causing a persistent contrail. A persistent contrail is caused by jet fuel exhaust mixing with moisture at a certain altitude and lingering for long periods of time. This is a severe problem we have around the world. NASA's aware of it. So is the FAA. You know how we know that? They've decided that one way to perform what's called SRM, solar radiation management, is to direct air traffic over certain areas that are experiencing large solar influx. So if you have an area that's being heated excessively, the idea is to fly a whole bunch of jets, direct the traffic to that area.
Thank you.